Hey y'all, welcome back. Got a little free time, just me. It has not been just me ever. I mean, like, it has, but it's been 3 years. So I've been enjoying every moment, but I'm gonna still chill with y'all. I'm not gonna neglect y'all. So, welcome back to my YouTube family. Welcome to my new subscribers. Just want to do some sharing. Sitting here still doing my hair. Let's say that. And I want to share a couple of things with you all. So this is on the Education Center. Go over and subscribe.
We're going to make this as simple as possible. I'm just going to look over the Morocco's Treaty of Peace and try to see if we can understand it, or if I can understand it. I guess some of you guys might understand it, and maybe you guys can make a video and a breakdown if there's anything I missed or misunderstood, right? But let's just jump right in. So this is the Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I will post a link, and then that way you can go to it and download it, keep your own records and files. So let's jump in. Peace and Friendship. This treaty sealed by the Emperor of Morocco, June 23rd, 1786, and delivered to the American agent at Morocco, June 28, 1786. Additional article signed and sealed on behalf of Morocco. Right, so this is the treaty sealed by the Emperor of Morocco. That's the first thing we see here, right? And it's delivered to the American agent. So the first thing I want to know is, what the heck is an agent, right? I got an idea, but I could be wrong. So if we go to etymology, where I love to spend my time at, we see it's descriptive from 1610s, right? And it's descriptive of the noun. See there? Descriptive of the noun. Now the noun states it is late 15th century, right, jumping back in there. So in dealing with the word agent, it tells us to refer to the noun. So in the noun it says late 15th century, one who acts, from Latin agentum, effective, powerful, agere, to set in motion, drive forward, to do, perform, keep in movement, root, ag, to drive, draw out, or forth, move, meaning any natural force or substance which produces a phenomenon, is from 1550s, meaning deputy representative is from 1590s. Alright, so the first definition of it in the 15th century, somewhere around about that time, it says to do or perform. Okay. So when we go back here, it says treaty sealed by the Emperor of Morocco and delivered to the American agent, or the one who does or moves forward, belonging to America, is American, at Morocco, June 28th, 1786. Additional article signed and sealed on behalf of Morocco. Now this is all talking about Morocco, right? July 15th, 1786, ship signals agreement signed at Morocco. The agreement signed at Morocco, July 6, 1786, entered into force July 15, 1786. The treaty and additional article ratified and proclaimed by the President of the United States, July 18, 1787, expired and replaced January 28, 1837 by the Treaty of September 16, 1836. All right. Now let's get into the treaty. To all persons to whom these presents shall come, shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America, now, the United States of America is not dealing with America, this is dealing with their coming together as a corporation, I guess you'd say, because these states unite and come together to be America, and I don't think at the time it was U.S., the corporation, I'm not sure, but if we just base it on this, they're saying they've united the states of America. And Congress, assembled by their commission bearing date the 12th day of May, 1784, thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson their ministers plenipotentiary. Let's look at that word. Plenipotentiary. Lord, I can't say it. Wow, I know I'm gonna mess mess that all up. Hold on, let's get that word. Plenipotentiary. There it is. I knew I was going to check that word up. 1640s from French plenipotentiaire. T-I-ire. And directly from medieval Latin, plenipotentiarius. Having full power. Having full power. So, the full power is handed over to John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, and their ministers. So they have full power. All right, that's what we're looking at right there. Is full power. All right, so the full powers are given to John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, blah, blah, blah. All right, given to them, or a majority of them, full powers to confer, treat, and negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco concerning a treaty of amity and commerce. Okay, well, we know what commerce is, but what's amity? Hold on, let's see what amity is.
What I have to say about that is the reason to me that the Moors got ahead on the game is because, one, they preserved their history, and then two, they started speaking in the U.S. corporation language before anybody else. They were studying law. They were studying the etymology of the words. They were studying these contract law. They were studying those things. So that's how we're now waking up, and it's just like control from different directions, and the same, just different people trying to control what's not biblically, right? That's not given to them by the Most High. Everybody was given, their spot. So that's what we're waking up to right now. Like, they been up on law. They are the private citizens.
And we don't mean horror, right? Let's see what amity is. Friendly relations, especially between nations. Oh, so wait. So the United States of America is a nation, and Morocco is a nation, and so they're having friendly relationship, right? Okay. So Morocco, right? Morocco not giving two shits about the American Aboriginal or the Negro. Morocco giving two shits has made a treaty in which they have a friendly relationship with the United States of America, who warred with you for what, since 1600s on up till the 1800s, right? Up until the Revolutionary War, fought your ass the whole time and didn't take your back on that. So this is a friendship treaty between Morocco and the United States of America. Alright, so there is a friendly relationship with Morocco and the United States of America at the time of your warring, right? So at the time, they're making these friendship treaties. So I don't see how you're a Moroccan unless you weren't, unless you and your family wasn't getting slaughtered. So I would say at this point, if your family's getting slaughtered, that treaty has not done anything for you. It didn't protect you, or it was nothing for you. It had nothing to do with you, right? And with our research, we've gotten as far as to understand that the Aboriginal, right? The Aboriginal is who you are. And you know what? I'm going to show you something. Hold on. Alright, so just so I can get a little more clarity on the whole Aboriginal and who they are at the time of this stuff going down. A different narrative. All right, check him out if you ain't subscribed. He has a video. Carnival Moss accused of appropriating indigenous culture. All right, so let me see if I can blow this up some. No, let's back it down. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this clip. Check it out.
150th birthday, but she says this is not the way to do it.
I'm sure that there were ways that we could have, integrated Aboriginal culture.
50th birthday, but she says this is not the way to do it. Birthday, but she says this is not the way to do it. Birthday, but she says this is not the way to do it. Birthday, but she says this is not the way to do it.
Now, this video is about the Aboriginals taking on the culture practices of what this other lady is saying is indigenous Native Americans, right? So let's listen to this lady one more again.
I'm sure that there were ways that we could have, integrated Aboriginal culture.
Might I add, this is what happened when the mixing started. It's like the amalgamated feel like that they can have a say-so for the whole, and that's what happened with the civil rights movement. The amalgamated took over the whole because they were a little more favored, by the whites. Because hell, honestly, they were some of their grandchildren and children, so.
Sure that there were ways that we could have, integrated Aboriginal culture, integrated Aboriginal culture, integrated Aboriginal culture.
Now, clearly, this should be an eye-opener. Let me skim the video.
And I also add that I side with her too. Like us putting on feathers and parading around the remnant was sharing with me that is the behavior of another god. So when they do that, it's a fertility god, actually. They are still idol worshiping, so I agree with her too.
So you can see what she's talking about. Let's see. Now, she's saying that you have an Aboriginal culture, but it's distasteful that you put on these long headdresses and you do this because it takes away from their Native American culture, right?
And it's not that it's distasteful that they put on these headdress and stuff, because it's our culture. It's the manner that they're carrying themselves. Like the priest, these were war bonnets. People who went to war. It's just like still cultural appropriation going on inside of the Aborigine community. Like they take our stuff and this is our culture. They want to tell you what to do with it, what you can and can't do with it. And then on the other side of things, like people taking it and like disrespecting it. So that's why I stand on it. Like they're disrespecting. These are war bonnets.
And the brother's got some words. Let's see the brother.
Not dancing around in
the culture of Canada and the history of Canada. And I think that it should be looked upon as something good and something that everyone should celebrate.
So he's talking about celebrating the culture of Canada, right? Which is funny because I wasn't even thinking about it, but I have a few pages open that you can't see right now where it's really talking. You know what? Hold on. Hold on. Where is it at? Where is it at about Canada? Alright, so this one right here, I'm going to go ahead and link this. I might not read it to you, but I'll link this to you in the description box so you can read yourselves. And you see it says Native American free passage rights under the 1794 Jay Treaty, survival under United States statutory law and the Canadian common law. Wow. I'm going to link this in the description box, but it has to do with the Canadian indigenous rights. So check it out. In 1794, following the American Revolution, the United States and Great Britain signed an agreement entitled the Treaty of Amity, Commerce and Navigation, the Jay Treaty, in addition to post-war normalization of relations between the two countries being Canada and U.S. The treaty also extended and acknowledged various rights of Amerind tribal groups occupying areas on or near the U.S.-Canadian border. Most significantly, the treaty stated that Indians on either side of the border would retain the right to move freely back and forth across the border, the so-called free passage right. This 200-year-old provision has endured in both U.S. and Canadian law, albeit in different forms. In the U.S., the Jay Treaty provisions were incorporated into Section 289 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, INA. Nothing in this title should be construed to affect the right of American Indian born in Canada to pass the borders of the United States, but such rights shall extend only to persons who possess at least 50% of blood of the American Indian. All right. 50% of the American Indian blood, right? All right, so what they seem to be showing is, of course, we all know about the amalgamations. Of course, we know about the $5 Indians. Of course, we know all about the whole story about Indian blood and how in this country they don't want to recognize you as Indian because they have their own definition for it. But in dealing with the quote-unquote Canadian Indian thing, I don't think they're trying to, well, they would have to understand you have to be at least 50% blood for that to make sense. Because as an amalgamation, this goes to Muskie being 50-50, mulatto being 50-50, and then Muskie being like, what, an eighth or a fourth? Or an eighth, and then it goes all the way down to where at one point in time you heard about 1/64th Indian blood. That's stretching it like a mother sucker. But in dealing with that, they're only talking about how true you are to the actual bloodline of the quote-unquote American Indian. And I'm not going to open up the SF-181, but from looking at that, it shows you that an American Indian is one who is original to North, South, or Central America. All right, so what he's saying here, let's go back and listen to his brother. Let's go back.
It's all in celebrating the culture of Canada and the history of Canada. And I think that it should be looked upon as something good and something that everyone should celebrate.
Do you see that some people might see it as a sign of disrespect?
All right, now, when we go back and we look at all the ancient pictures, and don't kid yourself, when we go back and look at all the quote-unquote ancient pictures of the Aboriginals, that woman is saying you're misappropriating. You're wearing some stuff that goes back to the quote-unquote native man, all right? So you have what I like to call the Turk-Mongol.
And I said to myself, at first, I thought this was beautiful. So until I read up on it, I didn't know that, it was pagan worship. I didn't know that who the war bonnets were designated for. So just keep learning. Your opinion changes.
Some people call them Mongol Turks, so whatever the case may be, but you understand it's the amalgamation. And they wore these quote-unquote headdresses. When you go back and look at the old pictures, even like when you look at Montezuma, right? That's not the headdress he wore. That's not, you know what I'm saying? And that's really some spicy clothing. Like, that's really spicy. I'd be thinking I'm at a strip club for real. Like, I need some dollars, something to toss on the stage because they walking around. It's like a strip club. So let's just be real. That is kind of a misappropriation of that. It actually over-sexualizes our women, and we're not even going to that, but, it's what was it, Daytona Beach, right? The bikers get together or whatever, or Mardi Gras when everybody gets drunk and walks around naked and everybody's sleeping with everybody. That's out of control. You know what I'm saying? That's out of control. It's going a whole other direction. But to the point, the most important thing in this video, let's go back. Let's go back to the most important part of this video. Is this it? Oh, my internet wants to get slow because I'm making a video.
Traditional, very, very cultural, and it holds a lot of meaning. It's very symbolic, exactly. How many comments? Like as a costume, because it's not a costume. It's very, very traditional, very, very cultural, and it holds a lot of meaning. It's very symbolic, exactly. Integrated Aboriginal culture, integrated Aboriginal culture into
So she's clearly saying, I know you's Aboriginal, and we can integrate into the things we do, but you know, you're kind of biting in on my quote unquote culture. That's what she's saying. Now, I could care less. My point is, she stated that you're Aboriginal. All right, that was the important part. You're Aboriginal. She just made that point clear, as well as that one white politician did. Need I remind? Some of you've already seen the video over 1,000 times, but he makes the same point clear. So in dealing with this Indian stuff, the Canadian Indian stuff, they already understand 50% of blood, right? You must shall extend only to persons who possess at least 50% of blood, at least half-breed American Indian or the Aboriginal, right? That's the Aboriginal people, right? Misnomer Indian, but nonetheless original to North, South, and Central. All right, now let's get back. All right, so we come back over. It says, giving to them, the majority of them, full powers to confer, treat, negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco, concerning a treaty of amity and commerce, peace, and trading, to make and receive propositions for such treaty, and to conclude and sign the same, transmitting it to the United States in Congress, assembled for their final ratification, and by one other commission bearing date the 11th day of March 1785, did further empower the said ministers with full power, or majority of them, by writing under their hands and seals to appoint such agent in the said business as they might think proper, with authority under the directions and instructions of the said ministers, to commence and prosecute the said negotiations and conferences for the said treaty, provided that the said treaty should be signed by the said ministers, and whereas we, the said John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, two of the said ministers with full power, the said Benjamin Franklin being absent, by writing under the hand and seal, so they're using their seal to sign the deal. So it's important to have a seal with your nation, and their nation's the United States of America, through citizenship, which we understand under the 13th and quote-unquote 14th Amendment of the said John Adams at London, October the 5th, 1785, and of the said Thomas Jefferson at Paris, October the 11th of the same year, did appoint Thomas Barclay, agent in the business aforesaid, giving him the powers therein, which by the said second commission we were authorized to give, and the said Thomas Barclay, in pursuance thereof, hath arranged articles for a treaty of peace and commerce or trade between the United States of America and His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco. So again, Morocco has made a deal with the United States of America to keep peace, right? Peace be upon us, right? And to do trade. Now, while all this shit is going down, I'm sorry, you Negroes are at war, perpetual war, and then they say 1007, right? 1008. So 1700, right? So 1700 is still war with your ass and them taking over, especially when it comes to Manifest Destiny shit. They're still whooping your ass to take this shit. And they're making deals with Morocco, right? So you're not involved in that. You're at war, and your family members or your children have already been taken and sold in the quote-unquote Indian trade markets, you know what I'm saying? And which reminds me, does anybody have a background history of the quote-unquote Native American being sold at these Indian slave trade camps? I never really looked it up, but I mean, anybody, I don't care if you're a Native American, I don't care if you're a quote-unquote Caucasian, I don't really care. If anybody has history on that, I haven't looked it up, and I'd love to read some of that stuff to see, what's real and what's not, because I have to look at both sides, right? So I know about the reference. Vincent referred me to, a friend of mine referred me to.
Hi, I'm Carly Kloss, and today I'm going to show you how to create your own website with Wix. With Wix, it's easy. And
The movie, where it states, Leonardo DiCaprio states at one point in time during the movie about the tree nigger, which which is the ones in the woods, and then later on refers to Native Americans as something totally different. So clearly they're pointing out that there's a Native American and there's an American Indian. Also, to not forget about the actual document we read about the Native American before they came known as Native American, saying we don't want to be called the American Indian because we are not the same. We actually have origins that take us back to Asia, and we want to keep our culture. As well as like the TV show Salem. I mean, I know we shouldn't be watching TV shows that much, but some of them are important to help us see what actually happened in the history, because in the TV show Salem, the demons or the devils, quote unquote, are the tree niggas basically who live in the woods, and they impregnate these women that are quote unquote colonizing women, and then they get possessed with the demon, quote unquote, the devil, and then they have the devil's baby, and then they're possessed by the devil because, let's just be honest, ain't no devil. Let's just be honest. You're the devil to them. You're their adversary. You've been their adversary since they got here. That's why you've been in perpetual warfare with them. Don't kid yourself. Let's just be real. You're the adversary to them. You have been in perpetual war with them. Wars, right? Perpetual wars. You're their devil. And as far as demon goes, demon is Daimon, D-A-I-M-O-N. That is dividing mind. So again, they have divided us as people, and they have divided the lands of the Most High. So I'm not so much even hardly understanding any devil content coming out of their lips. So when they're saying that they have been impregnated by the devil, you're their adversary. You're the tree nigger. I'm sorry. They went out in the woods. They went looking for some of that black, you know what I'm saying, that quote-unquote nigga, I want some of that thing, you know what I'm saying? And then they got some, and all of a sudden they're having a baby by you, and then all they love and want to worship you. That's all they're talking about. And then so the white man looks at this woman and says, oh, you evil witch, you're possessed. You once you go black, you never go back. So now you're possessed by this demon penis. And now you want to worship those tree niggas out in the woods, and you're always running off into the woods to do God knows what. Under the heavens, you're sleeping with those devil tree niggas, and now you're possessed by them. So now you want to worship this devil, right? Now I know a lot of our people like to use the word devil in reverse because it's just adversary, and you know what? I talk about it a lot, so I guess I'll show a lot. So that's what these videos are for. Devil, right? An evil spirit, a devil, the devil, false god, a diabolical person. Now, don't play yourself. Now there is a quote unquote. That's a little g, all right? That's a freaking little g. Right? They know the big G is referring to the big guy, right? That's the way they know it. But the little g is in reference to what? The sons of God, right? So they say a false god. Now, is there a date? Is there a date on this word? I wonder if there's a date. All right, we got a 14th century down there. Playful use for clever road is from 1600, meaning sand spout dust on. No. Phrase a double way, 1300 was originally hell word to hell. But by late 14th century as an expression of irritation. All right, so we don't really have a date. It just says Old English. Well, we do have a date. Old English, before England was conquered, right? So this would have came out of the melanated mouth, right? The melanated mouth of the original people of England, right? Because it's English. Deophil, because E in Hebrew is like a or eh. So it'd be deophil, evil spirit, a devil, the devil, false god. Now, who is the false god, people? Raise your hand if you know who the false god is, because a lot of y'all was worshiping just like me, the false god. And so we know there's a false god. Jesus, that's right. That if you shared Jesus and you was like, that fool talking about Jesus, I know he talking about that false Jesus, that God is a Jesus, he false. Right. That false God, a diabolical person. And I'm going to show you how diabolical he is. Hold on. Alright, so just to help you guys get a better understanding of that wonderful Jesus thing, I want to show you Romans 1:1. Alright, right, so clearly here you'll get it and you won't need me to explain this anymore. Romans 1:1. Paul, a servant of Christ Jesus. Christ Jesus, okay? False God, right? He's an evil spirit, a devil, the devil, right? False God. Called, highlight that please, sir. Called to be an apostle and set apart for the gospel of God. And nope, hold on, let me go find. This is that new fucking translation shit, ain't it? Hold on. Let me go back to something earlier before they tried to clean that shit up. King James Version, what you got for me? I don't want the Gateway, I don't want Christian, Bible Truth. Where is that? You know, I saw one that took me straight to the Vatican shit. And I was like, they didn't hide shit in that Vatican version. I don't want 1 and 16. What are you doing? Hold on, people. Let me find it. Let's see if this one got it. Paul, a bond servant of Jesus Christ, a bonded servant, called to be an apostle, separated to the gospel of God. Separated? No, that isn't right either. Oh man, the one I originally read said separate from the gospel of God, which he promised before through his prophecy and all the scriptures concerning his son Jesus Christ our Lord, who was born of the seed of David according to the flesh and declared to be Son of God with power according to the Spirit of holiness by the resurrection from the through him we have received grace and apostleship, obedience to faith among all nations, his name among whom so called Jesus Christ, to all who are in Rome, beloved of God, called to be. No, hold on, people. Let me find the original. Alright, so I had to go find a Jubilee copy. I don't have my eSword set up on this computer. I reinstalled a lot of stuff on my computer, and I gotta put that back because it would have been so much easier if I just opened up the eSword and went to the Brenton version. Alright, but it says, this is the Jubilee version. Paul, slave of Jesus. Alright? So Jesus, we know, again, is the false God. And he is the Christ, right? And Brother Lexington broke down that Christ stuff so many times, y'all should already know. Now, this slave, Paul, is called to be an apostle, separated. He's separated unto. Right? So he's separated. He's called as a slave, separated. He's been separated Alright, it says un is prefix of reversal, deprivation, or removal. Old English un, from Proto-Germanic andi, source also of Old Saxon ant, Old Norse and, Dutch unt, Old High German unt, German int, Gothic and, against, from pi, or root, anti, facing, opposite, near, in front of, before, against, see, anti, and ante. Hebrew A is AH, E is AH or H. So being that he's coming at the end, I'm assuming it would be in reference to or it could be vice versa. It could be A is AH always, so it's ante. So more or less confused with un through similarity in the notions of negation and reversal. Negation, negating, going against, right? Unlocked might represented not locked. Past tense to unlock. Prefix, negation, Friskin German, Gothic, pi, source of Sanskrit, and not, an, Irish and combination form of root ni, not. So not. And two, we have to go into preposition for two. It says Old English to in the direction of, for the purpose of, furthermore, West Germanic, Dutch to, zuo, zu, to, from pronomina, toward, upward, toward. So let's go back. We've got not toward or against toward, against to.
Okay, y'all. So that was the end of that video. go over to the Education Center and check him out. These are the links on the video. Like I said, go over and check that video out. It's Real Talk Treaties. And I just want to spend a little time with y'all, but I gotta go. So I'm out of here. Peace and power to everyone. And enjoy the rest of your day.